Hi there, Ford owners. Today on your 2020 Ford Escape, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Roadmaster's Chargeline kit. And this is what our Chargeline kit looks like when it's installed. It isn't going to seem like a whole lot in the kit because really we just need to get power from our motorhome to our battery, but we also need to make sure that we're doing it appropriately. That's going to keep our vehicle safe. So in your kit, you're going to receive an appropriate gauge wire that's going to have enough diameter in it to allow proper current flow to reach your battery and charge it up. We also need to make sure we've got an appropriate gauge circuit protection. We've got a circuit breaker here that's going to ensure that if we have any shorts in our system, it'll open it up rather than just causing those shorts to potentially cause damage to the vehicle by either heating up and melting out wiring or opening up fuses for other components on the vehicle. So this will be completely independent with its own circuit protection. It's going to route from our battery positive to the circuit breaker, and then from our circuit breaker to our 6-way connector at the front. This is an ideal upgrade if you're flat towing your vehicle, especially if your vehicle needs to be in with the key in any kind of on position, or if you've got anything that's powered that is going to operate when you're flat towing it down the road. So really, if you've got a braking system or anything on your vehicle, whenever you're flat towing it and your braking system operates, it's going to draw power from your battery. Now, if you're just doing short trips, more likely than not, you're not going to discharge your battery if that's the only accessories that are running is your braking system. But if you go on long trips, your braking system could potentially drain on your battery as well. So I do highly recommend in all your flat tow setups to add a Chargeline kit like this to ensure that when you reach your destination, you'll be able to start your vehicle because your motorhome is going to be trickle charging your battery the entire time. A Chargeline kit can also protect your vehicle from catastrophic damage because depending on the flat tow state your vehicle is in, if the battery dies, it could potentially take it out of that flat mode state and cause some damage to your vehicle while you're pulling it down the road. So to avoid any of those scenarios, slap a Chargeline kit on here. It's a quick and easy installation. If you want to follow with us now, we'll go over that and you can see how quickly this is and how much it's going to be worth it in the end. We'll begin our installation by determining where all the major components are going to be. We'll have to mount one of those that comes in our kit, and the other ones are already going to be on your vehicle. You'll need to first find your battery positive. Now on this particular vehicle, the battery is all the way in the back, but we can use the jump stud located here. Now the only problem with this jump stud is it does not have a nut on it, so you are going to have to provide your own nut. It is an M8 by 1.5, so you can grab that at your local hardware store so you can attach that on there. The component that we need to add from our kit is our circuit breaker, and we put this just to the outside of our circuit box here. We use the 2 self-tapping screws that came in the kit and an 8mm socket to run those right into this beam here to get this mounted up. We then started hooking up our wires. You'll want to hook up the silver post first. You'll crimp on a small ring terminal on there and attach it to this post, and then run it from here towards your connector at the front of the vehicle. The wire that you have left over is what you see here. We'll still trim this up even further. This is just how much excess there was total left. Your excess we can attach to the other post, but we don't want to hook up the other end yet because that'll make our wire live, and we don't want to have a live wire while we're working with it. So we'll take our focus off of this wire for now and just focus on this one. This one's going to go down. We're going to run it towards the front. You do get some wire loom in your kit so you can hide it along the way, and we just kind of go down. We head straight down there, and then we use a fish wire to pull it from there towards the front. A fish wire can be a coat hanger or anything like that. You can just stick it in this opening here and push it that direction, and then you can reach down and kind of grab that to attach your wire through to pull it back. Once we pull our wire through, we'll then need to connect it to the 6-way connector at the front of our vehicle. This is a component that you'll likely install when you're doing your whole flat tow setup, so this would be something you installed yourself. Usually your base plate provides a mounting location for that connector, and that's where ours was located, was right on the base plate mounting location. So that's how we knew where to route this wire. Now that we've got it routed here, I just went ahead and pulled the 6-way connector off. Usually it's just held on by two self-tapping screws there. We just use our 8mm socket to remove that. We can now push back on the boot there. They've already had this sealed up and in use once, so it's not uncommon to see a bunch of dielectric grease in there. This is the red wire from our Chargeline kit. We went ahead and cut off the excess length. We already showed you that up front, and we stripped back this end. This is going to poke into the center circuit there, so you'll want to take your screwdriver and open this screw up here. I've already unscrewed it there. We can then take our wire, we're going to drop it down into the Chargeline hole there, that center circuit, and then we're just going to tighten this back up. Once we get this tightened back down, we can reassemble our 6-way connector here, so we'll probably put a fresh coat of dielectric grease on it there. So then we'll just poke our dust boot back down. I like to bring the wire loom down to the back of the dust boot. We already pumped it full of some dielectric there. And then I'm just going to seal up both ends. This will help keep your dust boot fully pushed into place against your 6-way. And then if we tape up the back end as well, that can help seal in that dielectric grease. Keep that from coming out and letting moisture in later on down the road. So now that we've got our connection made from our circuit breaker all the way up to the front, go ahead and snug both of these down. You can use a 10mm socket to snug those nuts down. Now we're going to take the other wire that we've got here. We need to connect to our battery positive post there. We're going to go ahead and trim off some of this excess. We've got more than we need there. We'll then strip back our wire. And we're going to take the slightly larger ring terminal that comes in our kit now. The two that you were using previously had a smaller hole for the smaller studs of your circuit breaker. This one has a larger diameter hole to slide over larger studs that you'd typically find on your battery. So we're just going to slide that on, crimp it down. And then we're going to go ahead and secure this in place. What I like to do with this one, because of the strange cavity shape, we're going to take the fastener there and we're going to bend it at a 90 degree like that away from the opening. That way when we put it on there, it's going to kind of sit down on there, kind of straight down on top like that. So now we're just going to take the nut that we're providing. We're going to slide our ring terminal over the stud there. And there is a little red plastic cover here that we just pulled off. It's got the little battery symbol on it, so that just pulls right off of there. Then you can slide this over the stud and then use the nut that you're providing to secure it down. And then we're just going to snug this down. The size is going to vary depending on the nut that you provided. The one we're using has a 13mm socket that will snug it down. Now that we've got that connection made, at that point, really it's just putting our cover back into place here. Sometimes you do have to make a small notch into the cover in order for it to fit through, but it looks like this cover is just going to push back in place just fine. We can then take a little bit of the wire loom that comes in the kit to hide our wiring there. So now we can go ahead and take a test light and make sure that it's hooked up properly. If it is, you can take one end of your test light, hook it to ground, and the other end of your test light, we're going to poke to the center stud there because that's what we had poked our red wire into. And if we're hooked to our battery, we should be able to light up our light here. So let's just touch it there. And there it is. The light lights up, showing that we have power on this pin, which means we're connected to the battery. So now as long as the 7-way on your motorhome has a functional auxiliary output circuit, it should charge the battery on this vehicle when you're hooked up through that auxiliary output through the center pin connected to our battery up there. When testing your motorhome, I'd recommend a tester just like this here. This simply plugs into your 7-way and it'll give you all your outputs so you can even run all your lights and test everything. Our concern here is with the 12-volt. Now we plugged it in here and it doesn't light up. That could mean that you don't have a 12-volt on your vehicle, but it could also mean that it doesn't activate until you've started the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and start it and see if this lights up. And here we can see that our 12-volt circuit has lit up, so we know we've got our auxiliary output. So this motorhome will be fine, but if you start yours and this does not light up, that means that you do not have that functioning circuit on your motorhome, and you'd want to pick up the motorhome side Chargeline kit to make sure that you can charge your vehicle when you plug in. And that completes our installation of Roadmaster's Chargeline kit on our 2020 Ford Escape.